All right, let's do it. You're watching the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. A loaded show coming your way. Taking a look at the latest Lakers head coaching rumors, more candidates interviewing with the Lakers and other teams across the NBA who also have vacant head coaching openings, plus 5 ideal and dream candidates for the opening to take over for Frank Vogel. First, though, I want to say thank you. Why? Because we were able to reach our goal last week of 44,000 subscribers. Appreciate everybody for making the Lakers Report a part of your days and a part of your weeks as we continue to grow like crazy and push out content for Laker Nation. Recent subscribers piling in to help us get to that mark in honor of the great Jerry West, Trey Stallings, Calvin McCarthy, Charlie Chimento, Chef Ken Nance, and James Epps. That is Chef Ken Nance. Hopefully you're cooking up some bangers. Let's get to 45,000 subscribers next. Obviously, we just surpassed 44K. And if you want a shout out like those subscribers on the next video, stay tuned until the end of today's show to find out how. Now, we start off by taking a look at the latest news and rumors about the Lakers head coaching search as they look for a Frank Vogel replacement. This offseason really only getting started for Los Angeles. This may be the first domino to fall in what could be a busy and hectic offseason as Los Angeles looks to tinker and reshape that roster to get back into the playoffs and championship contention. The Athletic on May 12th saying this: the Lakers have already been linked to over a dozen candidates for the head coaching vacancy. None of them have emerged as a clear front runner yet, though. Darvin Ham and Terry Stotts are probably the closest to current favorites right now. Now, of note, that was from May 12th. So there's been some developments and some reports over the last couple of days as the rumor mill continues to churn. And really, you're looking at a situation where, at least as of now, it might be Ham or Stotts either going to Los Angeles, and maybe the loser of the interview process might go to the Charlotte Hornets, or maybe they even just decide to go to the Charlotte Hornets instead because that roster locked and loaded with a lot of good young talent led by the star in LaMelo Ball. So who would you prefer? We're going to continue to talk about these candidates in Stotts and Darvin Ham. Of note as well is that the Bucks have been eliminated by the Boston Celtics after a really entertaining Game 7, so Ham has more time left on his schedule. Who would you prefer, though, to be the head coach of Los Angeles? TS for Terry Stotts or DH for Darvin Ham? Shams Charania, he's always on the scene. The Charlotte Hornets interviewing former Trailblazers coach Terry Stotts for the head coaching job this week. Sources tell The Athletic. That was on Monday. Also on Monday, Shams saying Bucks assistant Darvin Ham will also interview for a second time in person for the Hornets head coaching job, and he has emerged as a serious candidate. So those reports kind of happening over the last couple of days into today as well, as Shams Charania continues to really keep everybody updated on what the Lakers are trying to do, what the Charlotte Hornets are trying to do as they moved on from James Borrego, who really hasn't been tied to this LA head coaching job, but I do think he will land on his feet, if not this year, then maybe next year. For Darvin Ham, I think it's time for him to be deserving of a head coaching job in the NBA. This guy is cut from a certain cloth that's pretty impressive, and he's done the necessary things to add to his resume and climb up the coaching ranks over time. He was Mike Budenholzer's right-hand man in Atlanta, goes with him to the Milwaukee Bucks after a couple of frustrating playoff outings in which the Bucks failed to make it deep into the playoffs. They finally broke through a year ago, winning an NBA championship, and if they had Chris Middleton against the Boston Celtics, does Milwaukee make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals yet again? A lot of that movement, a lot of those strides, a lot of the improvement can be accredited to Darvin Ham and the work that he's done as an assistant coach. He's already landed many head coaching interviews over the last couple of years. Now he's trying to break through and finally get that head coaching job. NBA draft lottery is tonight on Tuesday. If you're watching this on Tuesday, on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, we'll be going live 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, a half hour in advance of the NBA lottery being determined. After the lottery is set, we'll be doing a mailbag and a post-lottery mock draft where we take a look at what my top 14 picks will be in our first post-lottery mock draft. It's all been speculation up to this point, but after tonight, we know which teams are going to be picking where in the NBA draft lottery. Join us on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel at youtube.com/chatsportstv. It all starts tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Next up on the show, latest on the Rajon Rondo situation. He got bopped. Doesn't look good. Popular name to join a coaching staff, especially among Laker fans. Does this alter and impact his future as a coach? We'll get into that and unpack everything. Legal situations, man, you never want to do that. And the NBA is also gathering more information after Rondo allegedly threatened his former partner with a gun in front of their kids. Now, that has been really the police report, and we'll see what the future details are going to show, but the NBA gathering more information on that front. 36-year-old Ashley Batchelor has filed an emergency protective order against Rondo, and of course, innocent until proven guilty. Used to cover news for a local news station in Pennsylvania, so sometimes these situations can certainly play out over a long stretch of time, and we'll see what happens with Rondo. But here's ESPN's story on it. Her allegations were made in the request for the EPO, the protective order. In it, she alleged that Rondo and a child were playing video games on Wednesday. When she asked the child to separate laundry, Rondo reacted angrily, according to the woman, ripping the game console out of the wall and smashing several items in the house, leaving the boy and another child there upset. The woman alleges that Rondo said to her, "You're dead," in quotes, before leaving the house, only to return shortly thereafter, this time with a gun and demanding to see one of the children. The woman said she grew scared of the situation, so she brought the child downstairs, and Rondo pulled the child outside, allegedly while still holding the gun, while he yelled at him. He then demanded to see the other child too, and she also came outside as Rondo yelled at both of them for being afraid of him, the woman alleged. "I am extremely fearful," this is her statement, moving to Ashley now, "for my safety and the safety of my children. Rajon has a history of volatile, erratic, explosive behavior. He's verbally, emotionally, and financially abusive. He physically hits our son and calls him names like the P word and accuses him of acting like a B word. Rajon verbally assaults our daughter. He calls her names like that B word and D word. And Rajon has made several threats on my life, saying at various times he will shoot me or shoot up my car." So obviously when you read things like that and you unpack a police report and there is a protective order filed against Rondo, if those details are in fact true, it's alarming, it's extremely serious, and that's something that nobody should take lightly. And of course, what's at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of our focus with this story is what it means for Rondo's future as an NBA player, because he hasn't retired, but also he's been talked about as a very cerebral type of guy, a guy who has a basketball IQ that's extraordinarily high, won a championship with the Boston Celtics as a young player, has done a bunch of really good things in his career, and people look at him potentially as being a future assistant coach, and then over time, maybe a head coach. Now, there have been some coaches who have run into some legal situations over time. Derek Fisher, Jason Kidd, Chauncey Billups, but we're entering an era, and we're in an era right now, in which these types of situations can certainly alter your future in a profession like this, because the image of a coach, for instance, and a leader is considered to be very, very important, and you want a squeaky clean record. And Rondo, if he is proven guilty, of course, will not be able to be filed under the clean record circumstance. So Rondo has not been listed as a suspect in a crime at this time, but again, you have to think about how this could impact his coaching future, because again, he's looked at as one of the future Jason Kidds, one of the future Chauncey Billups, and a future coach at the NBA level. So that is the latest on Rajon Rondo, and if those details are in fact true, it's not a good look for Rondo or his kids, and hopefully Ashley is okay. Coming up next on the show, we're actually going to have some fun after that serious segment. Ideal head coaching candidates, some dream guys who could replace Frank Vogel, but first, I want to hear from you, the audience, Laker Nation, purple and gold. Show up, show out in the comment section. Who would be your dream Lakers head coach? Let me know in the comment section. Now, of course, we're reaching a little bit, right? That's why they're ideal and dream candidates. Jason Kidd has to be atop that list. They had him in-house. They didn't hire him. Instead, he goes to the Dallas Mavericks, and the Mavericks are in the Western Conference Finals against the Golden State Warriors because Luka Doncic was the Phoenix Suns' daddy. And Jason Kidd has done a great job, a masterful job of helping turn the Mavericks into a championship contender. Obviously, they're led by arguably the best young player in the league, the closest thing to Larry Bird that we've seen since Larry Bird. But what I want to focus on here for a second is the defensive turnaround for the Dallas Mavericks. That's a big reason why they are where they are right now. They go down in a 2-0 hole to the Phoenix Suns. They climb out of that 2-0 hole. Why? A lot of that, yes, because of Luka Doncic, but defense. And defense was the calling card for this team all throughout last year. Jason Kidd, he was on the Lakers bench under Frank Vogel. He leaves, and now the Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals for the first time since 2011, and they advanced past the first round for the first time in a decade as well. Next up, a guy who we've talked about a lot, it's Nick Nurse. Flatly because of player development. The player development that's taken place with the Toronto Raptors has been fantastic over a long period of time. Under Nurse's watch, Pascal Siakam has taken big steps. And Nick Nurse, to me, is a big fish because of that. And we're talking about LA, we're talking about Tinseltown, we're talking about Hollywood. You want to go after the A-list actors. Nick Nurse is an A-list coach. Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet. What I've seen from Precious Achiuwa has been fantastic. The players on that roster have developed. Even Chris Boucher is a guy who was a journeyman at the NBA level. Now he's a legitimate rotation guy. And, of course, the NBA championship back in 2019 led by Kawhi Leonard. Ty Lue, he's in the city. He's in town. He coaches at Crypto.com Arena, and he also has familiarity with this Lakers organization because he played for the Lakers. And this would cause and stir up a lot of Los Angeles drama. Now, at some point, the Clippers and Steve Ballmer, they're going to build their own arena, and they're not going to play in the same arena as the Lakers. But they're still going to be in L.A., and for Ty Lue to leave the Clippers for the Lakers is something that I'd be rooting for. One, because he's a very good coach. The adjustments that he makes over time, how he can maximize his rosters like he did this year without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard for long stretches of time. In Kawhi's case, the entire year has been really, really impressive as well, and I'd love to see that L.A. drama take place and just see the reaction from Steve Ballmer on the baseline. Juwan Howard, head coach of Michigan. Another guy who I think has done a good job of coaching adjustments. He's led Michigan on a couple of deep NCAA tournament runs the last couple of years. 2 years ago, making it to the Elite Eight. The player development, once again, that's taken place has been impressive. And this is a hire that I think would have upside for LA, for Juwan Howard over time, to be a very good coach at the NBA level. Learned under Eric Spoelstra, played in the NBA for a long time, was a member of the Fab Five, so he ain't worried about pressure at all. Also a LeBron James guy because he played with LeBron and also coached LeBron when he was under Eric Spoelstra with that staff in South Beach. Lastly, Monty Williams. This is a guy who's been through a lot over the last couple of years. Was an assistant after he got his first run as a head coach with New Orleans. His wife passes away in a tragic car accident a couple of years ago. Last year, helps lead the Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals. 6 games against the Milwaukee Bucks before falling in the championship. This year, best record in the NBA. They fall in the second round in 7 games to the Dallas Mavericks. But he's the coach of the year. He is really, I think, a good leader and a guy who would have the perfect temperament for Los Angeles. The pressure wouldn't get to him. The pressure cooker of Los Angeles wouldn't really impact him. And I think the way that he handles the media, how he handles controversy, how he handles pressure is something that you need. Those are prerequisites to be the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. At this point, if you made it this far in today's show, first of all, you're a real one. Thank you for watching the entirety of today's show and our 5 ideal and dream candidates. But also, if you type Lake Show in the comments right now, we're going to give you a shout out on our next show. So if you made it to the end of today's video, first of all, you're a real one. Appreciate the support, but also type Lake Show. We'll give everybody who does that shout outs on the show.